Let's bring you one of the stories that's developed in the past hour or so. The BBC has confirmed Gary Lineker will be leaving Match of the Day at the end of the season. That's in May next year. That's after 25 years with the show. For his part, Lineker said he was delighted to continue his work with the BBC for the World Cup coverage. Well, let's speak to our sports correspondent, Rob Harris, now. And Rob, this is a kind of a contract of two halves. One part coming to an end, Match of the Day, but he's going to continue to work with the BBC for the next few years.
Yes, he'll be continuing to work for the BBC in two ways. Gary Lineker will still be presenting the live match rights that they have for the FA Cup men's competition and the World Cup in 2026 as well. But he will no longer have those Saturday nights on the Match of the Day set presenting the Premier League highlights. The other part of the deal is a reflection of the growing podcast empire that he's built, because his Rest of Football podcast will be becoming part of BBC Sounds. Also, he produces a Match of the Day spin-off podcast as well for them. And really, Lineker has built this goal hanger productions company, which has allowed him to build this whole, perhaps third career. First a footballer, highly successful, captaining England, then as a broadcaster and becoming synonymous with Match of the Day since 1999, and then building this podcast business as well, not only just in sport but also in history and politics as well. But no actual reason given in this BBC statement as to why Gary Lineker is now stepping down from Match of the Day, just that they talk about how the show is continuously evolving for changing viewing habits, as they say that future plans will be announced. The statement from Lineker himself, very brief, saying he's delighted to continue my long association with BBC Sport and would like to thank all those who made this happen. That's a reflection of the contract extension agreed in principle. And for the BBC themselves, quoted is Alex Kajelski, the director of BBC Sport since the summer, and he says, after 25 seasons, Gary is stepping down from MOTD. We want to thank him for everything he has done for the show, which continues to attract millions of viewers each week. He'll be hugely missed on the show, but we're so happy he is staying with the BBC to present live football. Many might be wondering what this means for Gary Lineker's salary. He is the highest earner at the BBC on £1.35 million. He took a pay cut when he signed his last deal 5 years ago. Obviously, he'll be presenting fewer matches for them in terms of not being on Match of the Day, so that perhaps would put a focus on that. And, of course, this comes after a period of huge friction between Gary Lineker and the BBC and over the last couple of years with the then Conservative government over his use of social media to express political views, which did create some controversy in the BBC, particularly with those in the news side who have to maintain impartiality. So now perhaps Gary Lineker more freer to express his opinions, particularly last year after he was forced off Match of the Day, so controversially over one weekend after he criticised the then government's small boats policy, one of the biggest controversies in terms of political matters in the BBC's history, perhaps. And it did lead to various other BBC colleagues going off air as well in solidarity with Gary Lineker. And that reflects just what a figure and what a status that Gary Lineker attained and has done over his many years at the BBC. But he will be staying part of the BBC, just no longer on Match of the Day. And the BBC, we're waiting for them to announce just who will replace him on Match of the Day, or will it be a multiple series of presenters, perhaps, who are his successors. Names in the frame: Mark Chapman, who's currently presenting Match of the Day 2, also Gabby Logan, also part of the BBC's live football coverage, and Kelly Cates, who presents on 5 Live and is also a Premier League presenter here on Sky Sports.
Rob Harris joining us from our newsroom. Thank you.